Again, welcome to ICSB's Womenpreneurs Global Conference. My name is Linda Achelanu, and I'm the host for this amazing session. Just a little bit about me. I'm a senior project manager at Covance, the drug development division of LabCorp. I'm also the 2020 recipient of the Dr. Eric K. Winslow Award from George Washington's School of Business. I recently graduated in May 2020 in the middle of this pandemic, which has really turned our world upside down. Our topic today is youth women entrepreneurs. Just some stats. There are 114% more women entrepreneurs than there were 20 years ago. Just 25% of these of women business owners seek business financing. According to Forbes magazine, we're seeing more women-owned businesses, more female investors, and what's perhaps even more important, more brands waving their women-owned and operated flag. With the COVID-19 pandemic, we need to continue to support women entrepreneurs with resources, especially our female youth entrepreneurs who are the leaders of tomorrow. By doing so, I can guarantee you that our world's economies will flourish. So before we start, let me just lay down the ground rules. Each of our speakers will have approximately 10 minutes to speak in a panel format. If you do have a question, please note it in the chat box and we'll collate it throughout the session and ask the speakers at the end of all presentations. And then we're going to try to finish this off by noon Eastern. We have 5 fantastic speakers in store for you. Our first speaker is Miss Jordan Murphy. Jordan is currently a second law student at Suffolk University Law School. She's also a member of the Women's Bar Association and a staff writer for the Journal for Health and Biomedical Law. Prior to law school, Jordan graduated from George Washington University with a BBA and a concentration in entrepreneurship and innovation and a minor in psychology. She then worked as a program manager for ICSB. Jordan is still currently involved with ICSB, acting as a board member focusing on youth involvement. Jordan, do you want to share your screen? Welcome.
Hi, thank you very much. Yes, let me share my screen here. Okay. And can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. So hi, everyone. It's really great to be here, and I was super excited to be invited to this event. I think it's so important right now and, long overdue that we really talk about and focus on the role that women play in entrepreneurship. And especially for this panel, the youth entrepreneurs. So as she mentioned, I am an ICSB board member for the youth, and I'm currently a Suffolk University law student in my second year. So hopefully I can try to weave in a little bit of legal opinions on, what I think we can do to help support and advance women entrepreneurs. So just a couple of quick facts, which I'm sure you've heard throughout the conference, but basically how, women are the driving force in the United States. So 42% of all businesses are run by women, employing nearly 9.5 million workers and generating revenue of 1.9 trillion. Males, they are 1.2 times more likely to have confidence in their own ability to run a business. Perhaps this is linked to their higher exposure to business training, and they're 1.3 times more likely than their female counterparts to personally know a startup entrepreneur. So with these, the rates for young women in all stages of entrepreneurial activity are found to be lower than males. The term youth is defined as people between the ages of 18 to 34 years when we're talking about youth entrepreneurs, which was very surprising, for me. But that is kind of the age range that, they define it, and they do define it into two different categories. There's the young youth, which is between the ages of 18 to 25, and then just the standard youth between 25 to 34. A significant majority of early stage entrepreneurial activity by young women is in the consumer services sector. That's 73%. And then entrepreneurship, as Linda mentioned before, is regarded as a potential solution for one of the world's most important current problems, which is the youth unemployment challenge. It's estimated that almost 50% of the current jobs in existence, sorry about that, will become automated. That's even including white collar occupations, which have traditionally been resistant to automation. But we are seeing that there is a shift, and there will be a shift in the coming years. So I think a huge part that I want to focus on in this presentation is the idea of eliminating gender stereotypes when it comes to women entrepreneurs. A lot of times women face different biases in the forms of human, social, and financial capital. There's, differences in women's cultural perceptions about, their abilities to take risks associated with entrepreneurship. A lot of the times when you think about entrepreneurship, your, implicit bias is telling you that it's, a male dominated area. Men, they're good at math, they're good at science. This is kind of the things that you hear. And so a lot of times those stereotypes that are held really affect women in their ability to, one, feel confident going into these situations, and two, also affects the men who highly, hold these seats where they decide who will get funding. It also affects their ability to make decisions because of this bias. There's also differences in the opportunities that men and women experience in the workplace, and obviously families to become entrepreneurs. So a lot of times, for example, women who are in their 30s or, perceived by men to be in an area where they might be mothers, they do receive bias in that area. Men are hesitant to give them funding, believing that they're not 100% dedicated to their business, which is obviously not true, but that is something that does affect women and leads to them receiving 5% less capital than their male counterparts just from this bias alone. So as we know, they do receive less funding in general than men. So they receive an average of 57% of the capital that they sought from investors, while men receive 61%. And because of this bias alone, women do receive 5% less on average. Additionally, the average business loan for female-owned firms was less than a third of the average given to men. And surprisingly enough, which I found surprising, women in the UK and then followed by the US experienced the most bias in their entrepreneurship activities in the world, with the UK reporting 54% of women, and then the US reporting 46%. And that was followed by Singapore, Hong Kong, UAE, Saudi Arabia, France, and China. So I think there's an opportunity for the government to regulate some areas that I think will help, with women in entrepreneurship. I know a lot of people kind of have a negative idea of government regulation, but I do think that the government plays an important role in helping some of these systemic challenges that women face. For example, around the world, there are, in many developing countries, there's legal discrimination in access to credit, meaning that there's no laws that prevent people from discriminating against women based on their gender. Luckily, we don't have that issue in the US in terms of, a legal allowance, but of course we have that bias that we need to overcome. I think a great example of what other states could follow is California's Women's on Boards law. This was a law that made it, they had to have a certain number of women, at least one, I believe. Don't misquote me on this. I'm not 100% positive on the details, but I know they had to have at least one because a lot of Fortune 500 companies had all male boards, and they were finding that that was really hurting, first of all, women and their ability to rise up, and then also it was affecting the company with their bias. I think the US needs to make sure that we're supporting, increasing and not decreasing the amount of H-1B visas we give. H-1B visas are given to people who have extraordinary talent and they have something to offer the US in terms of, their intelligence, their ability to be a productive member of society. And I think it would be important that we extend those and continue to extend those, obviously to everyone, but especially to women and women of color, who we've found who have led some of the greatest inventions that we've seen. Patent law reform in general, I think that would support a lot of small businesses from the corporations who tend to buy them out and stifle their innovation. And then we do need more funding for women-run businesses. Here's just a quick map to show you the legal discrimination and access to credit, where the countries where it is legal. Okay, and then I just want to, if this works, I want to show this, but if not, that's okay. And let me know if you can hear the volume.
My favorite subject in school is science because you can invent all different kinds of cool things and there's like no limit what you can do.
Jordan, is it a video?
One inventor is Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, is it not working?
Yeah, I think you have to reshare your screen to share that page.
Okay, let me try that. Just do this quickly. Okay, that's all right. I'm not gonna, I won't force it. But basically the video was created by Microsoft, and it was showing that a lot of young girls, when they ask and they say, can you name any inventors? A lot of these girls were naming all males. And they said, can you name any female inventors? And they said, oh, well, we weren't really taught that in school. When you think of male inventors, you think of Bill Gates, you think of Thomas Edison, and so, and then they had shown, all these amazing inventions that were created by women, brake pads, all these different technologies. And so it kind of shows from a young age that society kind of instills in young girls that entrepreneurship and business owners and, STEM related areas are a male dominated industry. And that's not always true. So just to wrap up what I think we can do, if you can see this, the last slide. So I think that as women and just as a society, we need to, not that we haven't been doing this enough, but we need to just really focus on supporting the women out there, especially the ones led by women of color. Research has shown that when women have access to women mentors, that they succeed. They have these introductions that men have typically always had to get in front of these, venture capitalists. Some great organizations. One is Girls Who Code. It's a nonprofit that seeks to educate, inspire, and equip girls with coding skills. And then I'm not a huge, Barbie has their own issues, obviously, but just in a general comment, I think it is good. And it is a start that we're seeing that girls are having, toys growing up that are kind of showing that, there's more than one career for girls. Typically it was with my mom growing up, you're a nurse or you're a teacher, which are great careers, but she didn't have, the knowledge that women can be, business owners, women can be scientists. And so I think it's important that starting at a young age, we're teaching girls that women are entrepreneurs, they're successful entrepreneurs. And lastly, it's just important to remember that diversity drives innovation. So without women of color, without, women who identify in the LGBTQ plus community, we're not going to advance in the way that we should. Thank you. And thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Jordan, for sharing your brilliant presentation on breaking down barriers, stereotypes, and creating opportunities for youth female entrepreneurs. I think this is really, really important. Thank you. So I'd like to introduce our second speaker. Our second speaker is Miss Rosalie Sammy Migano-Gano. Rosalie is a Dutch financial advisor currently working at Mukoma Care, and this is a startup that she created with her mother. In this role, she is known for her dynamic leadership skill and her unmatched expertise in finance consulting and account management. Rosalie holds her master's degree from the IPAG Business School, which she will obtain in 2021. Rosalie, you can share your screen now.
Yes, hello there. How are you?
I'm great.
1 moment, please.
Sure.
Yes. PowerPoint. Can you see my screen or not yet?
Not yet.
Oh. Is it possible for you to share, because it's really kind of new to share PowerPoint in Zoom?
All right, hold on 1 second. Let me pull it up.
I'm trying to find out how I'm gonna try to share this on Zoom.
Okay.
No, can't share it.
Okay, can you see it?
You have to Linda, you have to reshare your screen to the slide because you're sharing the folder.
Okay,
There you go.
thank you.
Yes, hello. If I may present myself, I'm Rosalie. I'm Congolese Dutch. And since a young age, I was really lost, as every young girl. I had a brilliant mom, pretty smart and with a political background. And most of the things she was telling me, as a woman, you have to be a leader. And I had a vision as a young girl to have my own company and to not be an assistant of a male and not to be dominated by a male. And as an African family, it's really hard to see a woman to be pointed first, because they don't tell you that you are born as a leader or you can continue to work as a leader. It's really difficult, because to give us a message, a woman as African, you belongs to a household, you belongs to be submissive, to help your husband to succeed. And I don't give the message to the young girls to be successful. And I had a mother that was pretty successful, and would give me a message: you can be a woman and also entrepreneur and also be a leader and also be a wife. And that was pretty a vision that I had as a young girl, to conquer the world as a woman. And I kind of quite lost after my master in the UK, because I didn't even know what to do. After a woman, one of the women told me in the UK, so you can start entrepreneurship, and with all the ideas that you have, you can build something that's really see your vision, you share it the word, especially with the younger generation. That's why I started working with political in the Congo, because we saw the vision in the Congo. Women are really see as a household, not seen as leaders, because they don't share the message. They don't tell them that you were born as a leader. You were born to conquer, not to be, yeah, to be a housewife. At the same time, you can be a manager, you can be a director, you can be at the same time a leader of a big company, or you can open your own company, not only stay in the market and sell fruits or helping your husband. That's why I wanted to start it with the younger generation, because if they don't pass the message when you're pretty young, you will never understand it when you grow up old. Because I was told since a young age that I will succeed and I will be the person I want to be if I work hard. And I can be a mother and at the same time an entrepreneur. That's why I started with a group of girls in the UK. We started, we bring peace to campus. We tell young students and young entrepreneurs, we organize events to tell them how we should stop, first of all, corruption and violence in the Congo, because that was the main deal happened in the household, because the women don't share the message to their kids, to their young girls, because if they share this, that's banished to the culture. They're stopping a kind of rhythm, a kind of a system that's already built for years, for centuries and centuries ago. How can you tell a woman can pass a message to a young girl that you have to be a leader, while at the same time she is not a leader, she's obedient to her own husband, or she's listening to a system that's really male dominant? That's why we wanted to start it to younger generation, even in our old campus, inviting young Congolese women, young African women, to share with them their knowledge, how everything is happening in the house. If their mother is really caring, or if the mother is sharing more the culture system, or more the open-minded system, that you can run the world if you're capable, and we know that you're capable to run the world. That's why we launched this society, and we got in collaboration with the Congolese government, UDPS, and that's the party that's currently in power. And they invited me to talk about the knowledge. And right now we kind of doing it in university. I can't go to the Congo right now because of the COVID. And at the same time, I'm working as an entrepreneur in a project that I found out that the Congolese banking system is really backward, because 99% of the students doesn't know that they can invest like less than $100. That's why I wanted to give them more knowledge that you can invest even with $5. And the whole investment system in the Congo is really below, and is really above. Most of the investments system is corrupted, because they will tell you that you have to break money to get more money, and they don't tell you where your money is going to. And especially if you don't know where you're investing, you will lose your investments at the end. That's why I want to explain to the younger generation that you can invest, but you need to know, first of all, where your money is going, where you're investing to. And at the same time, I'm currently a student at EPAG. Sorry, it's the next page. I'm a student at EPAG Business School, and we work on a lot of projects, and that's why I kind of had more to focus to my ideas, because all my ideas were a lot and I could have put it in a strategic plan. And after meeting having 1 year of entrepreneurship, I kind of focus on one idea, and knowing what I have to do and what I'm going to do later, putting on my strategy plan in a paper and making my project work, and even starting my own startup with my mother. And at the same time working on a lot of projects, especially to help association, to help younger generation, to help people that in need, especially in African countries. Is that okay? Can everyone see the screen? Yeah, okay. And then this year we the head of teachers came with the idea, because there's violence that we're not talking about, especially violence at home. We see there's verbal violence, there's physical violence, that most of the people, you can see it, they don't, you can see it, but they're not saying it. And he came with an idea to create an application so that people can, when they see violence, that they can share it in combination with the French police, so that they can pass the message that there's non-verbal and there's verbal violence in some homes, but they can't share it because they're scared to be hurt, so they're scared to be killed by their husband or their mother or by their brothers or their sisters. That's why we came with the idea to create it. Mr. Malawi came with the idea to create this application, and they're working on it, still on launch. It will be launched shortly. And yeah, that was it.
All right, thank you so much, Rosalie,
You're welcome.
for bringing your personal experience to this panel of creating a female-owned skin care company, and also networking and your experiences as a Congolese in diaspora. This was really excellent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so, well, it's my pleasure to introduce our third speaker, Ms. Au-Lai Chong, Deputy Chief Executive Officer, Delta Asia Financial Group, Macau. Lai Chong has 20 years of experience in banking, asset management, and investment. Lai Chong is also passionate about social responsibility, investment, and social entrepreneurship. Okay, Lai Chong, would you like to share your screen?
Sure. Thank you. So, I hope everyone can see the presentation.
Yes.
Yeah. It is always a pleasure for me to have this opportunity to share my experience with you all, ladies and gentlemen. And young woman entrepreneurship and social enterprise is something very dear to my heart. So this is especially special for me. I think we all often go to different seminars and workshops, don't we? And we hear a lot of different successful stories from wonderful women and men. And hopefully we will learn a thing or two and copy the successes. But I'm just wondering, what does success mean to you? Earning a lot of money, fame, or fortune, or being at the top of the game. I once read an autobiography of Charles Handy, who is a renowned business thinker and philosopher. In his book, he actually asked a very similar question. What kind of legacy would we like to leave behind? What would us like other people to think after we pass away? What kind of legacy? 2020 is obviously a very difficult year for a lot of us with the pandemic and lockdown, but also in some ways it's a very special year for me as well. With slightly less hustle and bustle because of the lockdown and we all have to work from home, we have a time for me to reflect and learn. So it is a very special opportunity for me to study a bit more, and I complete some online courses and workshops. And I also managed to do some coaching for myself as well as coaching others. From this year, this experience, I particularly learned that we, especially with a woman leader as well, we're managing the company as well as family, we really need to safeguard of our time and utilize it wisely. We need to decide what is the best use of our time as a leader, what is our priority to drive the strategy and vision, as well as our well-being as well. So for me, maybe I introduce a bit more about myself. As a woman leader and also the third generation owner of a family business. Of course, I'm very blessed in many ways, but I also face a lot of challenges as well after taking over my family business in a very traditional banking industry. Especially we are in a very male dominance industry. And in my company, the board is also a very male dominant board as well. And especially in my case, the board chairman being my father. So my father being a wonderful man, but he's also very tough and successful Chinese father, and who's very critical as well. So with that, in general, for clients, our staff, or a lot of different stakeholders, they tend to compare me with the father and with other male leader as well. So because of that, with my personality, somehow it becomes a burden. I become like too nice or too soft, and I struggled before. But so I wonder, especially with this year, I have a bit more time, how can I be successful leader but still being me? So I thought before I tried to think about how I can lead my company into the next era, and especially with a new normal and this challenging period, I feel I need to think of my own vision and my values as well. So I kind of like go through my own finding identity journey this year. So through understand who I am, I learn my own value and what drives me and what is what I could do well. So at the end, I feel that as a Christian, I feel like what I do well and what I would like to do and what I feel like is my value is to sowing seed of God love and grace, and hope that together to others, so together we'll grow and cultivate and make a difference to this world. So helping others to grow would drive me to work better and what makes me happy. And with this, I could remember always go back to this core value when I doubted myself and with my decisions, and when people doubted myself as well. And this year, and apart from being a year of pandemic, is also for a bank, is the 85th anniversary. So our staff and our client are definitely our key stakeholders, and we would like to share our joy with them. So we have defined different promotions and different package to share with them. And for example, we have designed our own company version of Monopoly for our clients and friends and staff as a token of appreciation. And despite this year with the uncertainty, a lot of companies are cutting costs, but for me, we see this time for expansion and branch out to new business. So from banking, we are now tapping into a family office business and looking for like fintech and private equity areas. And moreover, I believe that company these days should not be only focusing on profit, but also need to think about responsibility to the society. And this is a cause that I really would like to support and promote. Therefore, this year, myself and a very dear friend of mine have recently set up a consultancy service to different social entrepreneurs. We believe that social entrepreneurs often have wonderful ideas and they would like to solve social problems, but because especially of the being young and lack of experience, where this is our expertise is. So we would like to help them to grow and make them sustainable. So this is our first client, Feststyle. Feststyle is provide prepackaged ingredients delivery service to those who have no time to prepare to cook and to go to the market. So they believe that all housewives are actually their own CEO. They have a lot of great ideas. However, the experience of housewife has not been recognized and fully recognized. And they have difficulty to finding the jobs because of between balancing families, taking care of families and finding making money. So with this, the company Feststyle collect recipe from all these wonderful housewives and offer them flexible job opportunities. And while the consumer can enjoy home cooking in a short period of time. So we have started this journey together. And on this presentation, you can see the two founders, Ding Ding and Yo. So we talked with them and helped them to grow, and through from solving like operational issues and also recruitment, and as well as raising capital. for me, this is a very rewarding journey to see them making an impact to the society as well as a business to grow as well. I believe that this is something that is very sustainable, and in fact, all companies should become having a social responsibility and have this in mind and make the society a better place. So going back to what we discussed at the beginning, what is successful? To me, it is to have a positive impact on someone and to the society and make this place a better place. This world is moving in such a quick pace and so complex that we only need a leader who has a compassionate, that can embrace the need of diversity in order to outperform. So 3 things that I have learned, that for us as a leader, and especially for us ladies, we really need to think about like how to use our time, and we need time for ourselves and use it wisely as well. And we should embrace ourselves. We don't need to listen to the world, what telling us what is good or what is bad, but we should choose to act differently based on who we are. And only with who we are, we could excel. And as a company leaders or entrepreneurs, we can not only focus on profit, but we have to be responsible to the society as well. So what is success story means to you? We really can act differently, and I think we could change the world with starting from based on who we are. It is the time for us to think, each of us, how can we lead on our own unique way? So I wish all of us have a successful life, and we could be successful in different ways. Stay healthy, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Lai Chong, for giving us your insights on female leaders, your personal experiences, and leading responsibly in society. Thank you so much. Next, our 4th speaker is Ms. Eva Zaibright. Eva is a PhD management student at the ISM University of Management and Economics in Lithuania. She holds 2 master's degrees in international and European community law and in local and regional human development. She is currently the lead researcher of DIU FROFP project, a multi-scale model to improve resilience of MSMEs and local communities to disasters and crises in collaboration with other researchers. She teaches undergraduate and graduate level courses, researches, and is currently the director for outreach and community engagement of FCJE UFRO. Eva.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
No, thank you for inviting. I'm trying to share my slides. Please let me know if they're working. All right. Could you give me a nod if you can see?
Yes.
Thanks, Guy. Right. Well, thank you very much to the ICFB for inviting me. And we talked about this, what it seems like several months ago with Annalia. And since I have been already presented in much detail, I will just quickly show you where I'm physically at right now. I am from Lithuania, but I have been living and working in Chile for the last 12 years. And for the last 5 years, I'm a full-time academic at the Universidad de la Frontera. So that's the UFRO part that Linda was there spelling out for you. And the FCJE is the Faculty of Law and Business, and obviously it's a special acronym. And I have just very recently, just a week ago, handed over the directorship, so I'm not anymore the community engagement director of the faculty. However, what I will be presenting here today obviously has to do a lot with that institutional position that I had before. And the reason that I make this emphasis is that, as you can see, I'm a white woman living here in the south of Chile, in Abya Yala, in the Americas continent, and specifically in Wallmapu, which is the Mapuche territory. And today I will speak of youth, women, indigenous entrepreneurship. I put the dots there just because it is, as Jordan has started out with, giving us good stats and good wealth of information on youth and young women entrepreneurship. I will show you how in an emerging economy such as Chile, threatened by all this cloud of risks and threats, as you can see here on this slide, how this manifestation of risk, that is business disruption, affects local communities and entrepreneuring by youth or women or young indigenous women. I will not go into detail on all these slides, but I'm very, very happy to share later the PDF, or through ICSB. You can just email me directly. The reason I have them is to show you what is the context in the emerging economy right now of both, birth of SMEs or entrepreneuring, as well as what's the situation right now with the with youth, women, and indigenous entrepreneurship, or all the entrepreneuring practices. So even before COVID hit, we had the social uprising here in Chile. And in 2019, OECD Entrepreneurship and SMEs report have already showed that Chile, by being an OECD country, has very bad, shows very bad indices of youth and women employment, as well as the situation with women and youth entrepreneurship is very difficult. The reason for that is that World Economic Forum already before COVID-19 has reported on the rise of vulnerability across all Chilean territories. And that was true before in the southern territories in Wallmapu, where indigenous population constitutes a big percentage. Depending on the place, you would have somewhere between 25 and 50%. And that vulnerability, obviously, the situation exacerbated with COVID-19 pandemic. And it is widely known that the scope and scale of business activity has an impact on its resilience capabilities. And we can define here the resilience capabilities as capabilities to anticipate, absorb, and adapt to business disruptions, thus maintaining basic structure and function of a business or a community or some sort of territorial unit. Linda has mentioned I have hold the master's in local and regional human development, and there we speak a lot of territorial units. Regardless of that, we can see that in those territorial units, in the compound data is here. As you see, 30% of population is economically vulnerable. Income inequality remains high, and that's why we had the social uprising last year in October. Maybe some of you have seen it on the news, and we can see that the GDP growth has decreased already in 2019, and this sort of situation, the COVID crisis has found these indigenous populations, among them the Mapuche people, who are disproportionately affected by the pandemic, as our university data shows, the Institute of Intercultural Indigenous Studies, and also the disruptions to the business, depending on what kind of event causes them occurs. So I have been studying this since 2016. since 2015, sorry. So here are some things that I already found before COVID. And now you can see that in this situation, we have GEM Chile report showing that even though La Araucanía is one of the regions in Chile with most nascent MSMEs, with most nascent ventures, the population generally express much higher rate of fear of failure. And it might be because the La Araucanía region is one of the most vulnerable, hosts one of most vulnerable demographics here in Chile, and also due to unresolved issues of lack of indigenous people recognition, as well as structural issues. So it is in this context that today I'm sharing the stories of resilience in Wallmapu. So just to remind you, so resilience is a capacity of a person, of an organization to anticipate, or even a community to anticipate, absorb, or adapt to business disruptions caused by disaster of human origin or natural, whatever they might be, and their ability to maintain the structure and function of a business, for example. So here we can see Natalie Traipi Wilipan. She's an undergraduate business student here at UFRO. She is my student. And I call her not a degree, but I call her a master of intercultural dialogue. So she does not hold the master's, but she is a master of intercultural dialogue. She bridges cultural divide wherever she goes, whether she engages in activism within university or whether she just speaks up in class. So she is an up-and-coming leader in local and regional national scale. Her nuke, her mother is Teresa Wilipan. You can see here in the photo, also accompanied by two other indigenous women entrepreneurs, Maori Vicky Young and Mapuche Elizabeth Painemal. For months now, there has been her business. You can see here in the middle of the photo, they had no sales because tourism businesses are completely at halt due to lockdowns coming and going, and due to disruption in not only in supply chains, but just simply in inability of people to travel and engage in tourist activities. And what the family has been doing, sort of the evidence of resilience here, is that they have been taking courses. For example, Natalie was taking courses of English, also helping me with the Maori Mapuche collaboration project, gourmet cooking courses and similars in order were taken by these indigenous entrepreneurs in order to make the most of their time, and also to combat the disruption, to find new ways to get income. And these new ways to get income and to keep their business afloat, and also to prepare for the new normal, right? For different ways of doing business, so adapting. So we're not only talking about resilience as bouncing back and doing the same thing as before. We can see now that the new normal prevents us from doing that. So here is another story of Leticia, or Leti, as we call her, Leti Cayun, whose food is as enthusiastic as her activism, and her nuke mother here in the photo in the middle on the seashore, Margarita Inés Cayun Lefio, who is one of the most inspiring seniors I have ever met in my life. They have turned to earth and sea for sustenance, as always, as they used to do before for hundreds of years. And their restaurant here in the middle, Restaurant Margarita in Puerto Saavedra in Lafken Mapu. Lafken Mapu means the land of full of bodies of water, right? Or land next to the body of water, like the Pacific Ocean, where you can see Margarita getting some algae out for her cooking. So they have a story of overcoming 3 disaster events in the last 18 months. So the major construction works right at the doorstep of their restaurant, which was already reputable enough years ago and was recognized, but nobody could go in because of huge construction works, which have brought about a great improvement. But at the same time, they had for more than a year, very, very limited income. They could not serve people because of there being just full of dust, the entire area. Then the social uprising in October 2019, which I have already mentioned, and then the restricting tourist flows because of the government imposed the virus spread prevention measures. So they are very obviously very valid measures, and public health is a priority. But these two women also have the weight of many unemployed men on their shoulders, because in the area the fishing had to stop because there were no ways to sell that fish into the disrupted supply chain. So the resilience bit of that is that they turned to agriculture and the sea for sustenance. They had to severely cut down on, obviously, on different sorts of spending and completely shut the restaurant. They were able to open up for the national holidays in September, and now they had to shut down again because of the lockdown. We in the region, even though the rest of the country is experiencing less COVID cases, in La Araucanía and the entire Wamapu is experiencing more. And finally, the third case is Ginette Rivera Tralma, owner of Curaco Gourmet, vice president of Sociedad Turismo Mapuche. So it's a Mapuche Tourism Society. You can actually check them out if you just punch in Mapuche Tourism as one word .com, has seen her sales soar as people started cooking more at home due to the lockdowns, right, and restaurants being shut down. But it was not automatic that these sales have soared. She had a habit of selling her products through local and regional fairs, where people who used to see her on TV, she's sort of a spokeswoman also for the Sociedad Turismo Mapuche and different gourmet food initiatives in the south of Chile. So they would see her on TV and then go to the fair. And obviously, due to pandemic, the entire fair system was completely shut down, and nationwide emergency and local and regional lockdowns eliminated fairs as Ginette's channel to connect with her clients. And business disturbance for her started obviously before with social uprising, because there were safety issues as far as the fairs were concerned. So she started sort of preparing, obviously did not anticipate the pandemic, but she started to prepare, convinced by this young man that you can see here in the photo, who is I titled him an Instagram star, but I'm not the only one who refers to him like that. So he taught Ginette, and that's where we get the youth and women collaboration. He taught Ginette on how to showcase her products on Instagram and attract more attention to her business. And once she was learning just how all these digital platforms work, COVID hit, and that was, as they say here, trial by fire. And actually, her given that now she doesn't have to go to the fairs, she can dedicate more time to growing organic ingredients for her preparation, for the products. So overall, in the last meeting online that we had with her a couple of weeks ago, on the 29th of October, actually, her evaluation of this entire tragedy is that, at least for her business, it is a good stepping stone. However, she recognizes that there's still much to be done in terms of cultural and environmental regeneration, which is sort of the general purpose of the Mapuche Tourism Society, and a lot of Mapuche businesses or indigenous businesses here in the south of Chile, even though they are not social businesses, but they always do look at triple impact. Linda, may I ask you, how am I doing on time? I think I should be finishing up.
Probably need to wrap up and probably.
All right. Okay, great. That's it. So what you are seeing here for me just sums up as the stories of empowerment, enablement, equity, and empathy, because these are the values which translate into entrepreneurial organizational resilience. And the way sort of to operationalize that is on what I've learned from these 3 individual stories and these collective stories that you can see right here in this last slide, is that we can see that the collaboration, intercultural, intersectional, interdisciplinary, and international collaboration are sort of the way to work on it, the way to achieve it, to achieve resilience of the businesses. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eva, for your insights on entrepreneurship and its impact on MSMEs, specifically in the Americas, in Chile. Thank you so much. Okay, so we are going to actually round out this session with our last speaker, Dr. Florence Nisabwe, who will be speaking about Women 2030 inclusive access to leadership roles. Dr. Nisabwe was supposed to be speaking yesterday, but she wasn't able to join due to connectivity issues. So she's going to give us her presentation now. Florence is a social entrepreneur and an expert on sustainable development strategies, project management, and good governance. At the heart of her work is her passion for empowering women through Foundation Lance d'Afrique Burundi to embrace their talents and have confidence to dream bigger, work harder and smarter, and achieve outstanding success. Florence, would you like to share your screen? Thank you for joining.
Yes, good evening. Good morning, good evening. I'm sorry, I don't have a screen to share. I want to share my short story about my work in leadership position and as an entrepreneur. And we are not having a good weather, so I see that even the network is getting a little bit unstable. So I'm going to take off the video, and I hope it's fine. As you said, I'm Dr. Florence Nisabwe, social entrepreneur, and I'm coming from Burundi, but for the 4 past years, I'm based in South Africa. But all my activities are we run our activities in Burundi and through the platform La Fondation Lance d'Afrique Burundi. So from my experience talking from a leadership.
If there is one thing that you wanted our audience to take away from this session, what would it be?
Sure, yeah, I think the one big takeaway from just watching everyone's presentation is that we're better when we're together. And I think that as women, I think we have an incredible support system. And so I think that, of course, there's barriers in the way. And I think, hopefully over the next, years or decades, that those barriers, hopefully it doesn't take that long, will be smaller and smaller. But I think until that can happen, I think the best thing that we can do is support each other, be resources for each other, help each other network, make those connections, because I think that's really important.
Thank you so much, Jordan. And do any of our panelists want to add to Jordan's message? Eva, go ahead.
Yes, according to me, I think as a young woman, we need, as Jordan said, we need to support each other. But at the same time, we need to encourage the young generation, especially the kids that are born today, the women and the young females that are coming to Earth today and that was coming next years too. We need to support them, tell them they're born leaders. We need to give them the message that they can rule the world and they can decide. They cannot be live after people or believe after what people say, but they have to believe to themselves and trust themselves, because they can conquer the world if they believe in their dreams and believe to what they're capable to do. Because I know they can go far and they're capable to do much.
I couldn't agree with you more, Rosalie. Okay.
Yes, exactly. I agree. I agree too, and thank you very much for those words. And I would add maybe just the last one, which is collaboration, which the word that also Jordan, sort of the concept that Jordan implied. Because here we can see that one of the big changes here, and at least in the south of Chile, I'm pretty sure in south of Argentina, the southern cone has a very similar situation, is that this youth women indigenous collaboration, because again, I'm speaking as a white privileged woman, just giving a voice to those who are maybe not invited into these fora because they don't speak English, for example, in the case of these these three cases that I showed. So with all the humility, what I would like to leave with you is that this intergenerational cooperation and international collaboration, they are very important instances if we are to achieve these breakage or taking down the barriers.
Thank you.
I agree with you all, and I think that we just need to really believe in ourselves. And despite that we are all different, and we might be different from what we think is the norm right now, but we have to find our own voice and believe in ourselves. And we are just don't need to doubt ourselves, I think. We have to believe in ourselves and just try.
I definitely agree with that.
Fantastic.
Thank you all so much for giving all your excellent insights. We really, truly appreciate it. I thoroughly enjoyed our presentations here and our excellent panel. So with that.
Thank you, Linda, because you've been a great moderator. And this was the last panel of the conference, and we are like, oh, it went so fast after so much work. But I would like to thank Linda, because she was so so great at doing it. I mean, we are amazed. You are a moderator, a born moderator. So thank you a lot, Linda.
Thank you. And thank you, Maria and Annalie and all those that have put this great conference together. This is what we needed, especially at this time. So I really want to thank you all. And of course, all those that have either spoken as panelists or have called in as our audience. This has been excellent. Thank you and I wish us many more to come, many more of these types of conferences to come. So thank you.